So the summer of my junior year of high school, my father gave me a birthday gift. And it was professionally wrapped, bow, ribbon, and all. And I was so excited because I knew it was a brand new Mustang, right? It was the keys to my Mustang. And I ripped open that box, I thought it was a Mustang because my other car was a Chevrolet Cavalier Z24 with no air conditioning and windows that wouldn't roll down. Okay, so I tore open that beautiful gift, and inside, what did I find? It was a hard hat, a vest, safety glasses. Thank you, Tani. This is not my father, by the way. It was a hard hat, a vest similar to this, safety glasses, gloves, and everything you would need to be safe on a construction job site. Not what I was expecting. This is my boy. I've introduced him to construction as well. And at the bottom of that box was a stack of job applications. And for some weird reason, I decided to choose the plumbing trade. And my dad laughed. I didn't understand what that laugh meant until I was standing in a ditch, knee deep in muck. My boots were stuck in muck. I was repairing a sanitary pipe. The smell of that ditch reminded me of animal cages that hadn't been cleaned in months. I will never forget the grotesque image of corn floating in that ditch. I must have been pretty good at that because I seemed to always be the person that would get this job. So I finished the repair as quickly as I could, and I got out of that ditch, much to the amusement of my crew. On that drive home that afternoon in traffic on I-4 in Orlando, Florida, on a hot July day, my windows were fogged up, and the stench was still overwhelming. It was just so pungent. I can just smell it right now. I realized that maybe I wasn't so good at repairing that sanitary pipe. Well, maybe I was really good at it, but that wasn't the reason I was in that ditch. I was in that ditch because nobody on my crew had respect for me. And in that moment, I didn't even have respect for myself. Respect is a serious problem that we have in the construction industry. We're getting better, but we're still not there. Did you know you're 5 times more likely to die by suicide than any other hazard on a construction site? The CDC taught me that. You're 15% of all construction workers in the nation, 15% of them have substance abuse. They suffer from substance abuse disorder. That's almost twice that of the general population. Again, we really suffer from a lack of respect in the construction industry. But things are starting to change. It's hard for me to stand up here in front of you and talk like this. I mean, I'm talking about my self-pride. I'm talking about me as a person, as an individual, right? I'm out here preparing, watching all you beautiful people walk into this amazing space, and God sends me 3 skilled trade workers walking down the stairs. Who saw those 3 guys today? You saw them? I love it. They're pipe insulators. Jose, Nelson, and Carlos. How many people had a conversation with them? They're on their way to Daniel Hall. They're doing piping installation today. For far too long, the United States has overemphasized the need to go to college and underemphasized or not emphasized at all the need for skilled trade workers. I think this is because when people think of skilled trade workers, they think of people like my buddy here, Perry Nicholson. Perry is a self-proclaimed hillbilly from the mountains of West Virginia. Perry has 6 sets of clothes. They all look like that. Neon yellow shirt and bib overalls. 6 sets. Don't ask him what he wears on laundry day. You do not want to find out. But he's one of the best builders of all time. Now, people's opinions of the skilled trades couldn't be further from the truth, right? Construction is starting to adapt advanced technologies like robotics, AR, VR, 3D modeling. I mean, these are things that are improving our industry on the day. Like every day we get a little bit better. What are we teaching young people? Are we teaching them to think with their minds? Or are we teaching them to test? You see, my children, they come home and they study their spelling words. Do they study their spelling words to memorize how to spell those words? Or do they use those words to understand what they mean? Do they know the definitions of them? Or are we just teaching them to test? As toddlers, we have this natural curiosity as we discover the world. And at some point, our school systems retrain our brains to not think. Don't ask questions. This is a problem. We must encourage young people to think. We've got to teach them these leadership skills, this ability to come out on this stage and have the confidence to be able to speak to people, to make people think, right? How are we going to do that? How do we make people think? A couple of ways. One, we teach them to pause and reflect. Just stop. You've heard me do this a couple of times in this presentation. I just stopped. At first, it's a little uncomfortable. But that uncomforting sound is the sound of thought. This is when we reflect, right? We're going to pause and reflect on what we've done. It's gotten us here. And that allows us to make modifications as we move forward. The next skill is the art of questioning, right? Bring back that toddler mentality. Bring back that 5 why, that root cause, that let's get into the reasons why. Right? We're inquisitive by nature. Let's embrace that. Let's love that. Let's care about that. Again, when we ask the right questions, the next question will come if we listen and pay attention to the intentions of the person answering that question. There's always a next question. And through radical candor feedback, we heard this earlier. Right? Kim Scott wrote a book called Radical Candor. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. It's a concept of challenging people directly and caring about them personally. And when you live in this quadrant of radical candor, beautiful things happen. You're able to give feedback in real time, and feedback's hard to give and hard to receive. Anybody know what this is? This is Japanese. It's the word ikigai. The word ikigai means purpose or reason for being here on this earth. And because the United States and many other countries have prioritized college over other options like the skilled trades, many people don't ever get to find their reason for being on earth. This is about passions. This is about things that you love. right? And I remind you that my Father put me in the situation, in that ditch, with that stench. It was so pungent, I can still smell it. He put me in that ditch to instill a good work ethic and to make sure I went to college. That's why he did that. He's told me that. And it worked, too. So are we encouraging people to think about their passions? Or are we just encouraging them to test, to do what everybody's doing? That's what society thinks you should be doing. Through the pandemic, we've realized something. Skilled trade workers were deemed essential. They had to go to work. We can't work behind a computer. You can't put this arena together behind a computer. You've got to be there. So we started working with masks on. We got to get our hands dirty. That's why I've helped to co-found the Skilled Trades Alliance. STA is about helping people find their passions. STA, many people don't realize that you can earn while you learn. There's something called an apprenticeship, right? There's companies out there that will pay you money to go learn, to better understand if the skilled trade that you're performing is right for you. There's hundreds of skilled trades out there for people to decide. Hundreds of them. And don't let this talk misguide you, because there is still a little bit of a lack of respect in construction. Don't let this talk misguide you. There's still lack of respect in construction. However, it's starting to change. According to OSHA, the last 10 years, we've seen a 2% increase in women in the construction industry. And I'm a firm believer that this is exactly what our industry needs. Because women have a sense of comforting or calmness that they bring just by nature. And I've witnessed it. You see the gal on the top left, that's Shannon Tomasco. Shannon's an electrician in Canada. She goes by Lady Volts. Amazing, amazing gal. She told me a story recently on a podcast that we do weekly of her on a ladder in the middle of a corridor. And she's up there and she's wiring these lights. And there's a male superintendent that comes around and he's super mad and he's angry and he's like doing everything but throwing his hard hat. And he sees her and he's like, oh. And immediately he shifted his mind. Immediately calmed down. There's other folks. The two in the middle. That's Miss Christy Powell and Angela Gardner. They run a podcast called Women in Construction. They're part of a group here in Clemson, Women's Construction Forum. Amazing ladies, encouraging young gals, all kinds of ladies to join the construction industry. That's what we need. You know, doctors couldn't heal. Judges couldn't instill justice. Teachers couldn't teach without the work of a skilled trade worker. You wouldn't be in this audience, in this beautiful arena, listening to me speak, if it weren't for skilled trade workers before us. So on behalf of all you, I will say thank you, skilled trade workers. A couple other amazing change makers. The gentleman in the bottom left, that's About Your House radio show host, Ray Terry. I'm a little bit bummed because Ray is hosting an amazing event today to put tools in schools in Charlotte. I had to miss it to be here with y'all so that I could spread this word. Ray's 70 years old, still works as a plumber and radio host, encouraging people to join the skilled trades. There's no one like Ray. I'll tell you that right now. The two change makers on your far right, That's Jennifer Lacey with Robbins and Morton, and Jesse Hernandez with Lifetime. Those two run a live stream. In fact, it's going on right now. I'm also missing that. It's on LinkedIn. It's called No BS with Jen and Jess. And what they're doing is introducing respect to the people doing the work, not just inside the gate, but also outside the gate. And so I'll encourage you, and I'll leave you with this, the best way that I know how. It's another word from another country. It's salubona. So the next time that you see a skilled trade worker, tell them, salubona. It's the Zulu tribe's greeting for I see that you exist as a human being. Thank you.